I'm Charlie Adler, author of I Drink on the Job, and today I'd like to talk to you about what was the purpose of writing this book. After 12 years of organizing and attending over 1,000 wine classes, 200 cooking classes, and numerous embassy functions from the French embassy, the German embassy, the Polish embassy, as well as many really interesting and unique food and wine events, I found out that I had an interesting story to tell. I mean, let me just give you an example. I mean, I've organized the Mushroom and Wine Festival at the French Embassy. I did an Asian food and wine pairing at the German Embassy. I did an East Coast food and wine festival with all East Coast wines, and also an event called the Unique and Unusual Food and Wine Festival, which, you know, I mean, some great wines from Georgia, the country, as well as cuisine like jerk frog legs. What I discovered after initially writing the book was that so many books on wine had been written the same way. Essentially, everyone wants to write a book that tells you everything you need to know about wine and everything I've ever experienced. I thought, well, that's not that interesting. That book's already been written. So what I decided to do was to take one wine class I've taught for the last 12 years. Over 16,000 people have attended Wine Basics 101. And I took all that I had learned from that class and all the questions I had gotten from people, Americans from diverse backgrounds, and decided that I could reduce that down to one book and simply tell the story of my life, my background in wine, all the interesting foibles and anecdotes and stories of things that have happened to me, living in the nation's capital and drinking wine, traveling to Bordeaux, to France, you know, traveling to different parts of the wine world. I came to a couple conclusions and I thought this could make an interesting book. And here are the two conclusions. Number one, Americans are very confused about wine and they think there's a right and a wrong answer for wine, that there's like the right way to choose wine. Number two, I also decided that I had to reduce everything to one major point. And my major point in the book is wine and food were meant to be together. Wine is part of a meal. It's a European idea. That's the way they eat over there. Americans are picking it up. If you focus on things you already know, like food, wine becomes so much easier. So believe it or not, the book's actually pretty simple to read. It's great for beginners. It does open up new ground, but at the same time, it sort of reduces things to easy to understand, bite-sized things that you can understand about wine. And also want to mention too, since I do so many cooking classes and food and wine events, I'm sort of an expert in food and wine pairing. The food and wine pairing chapter is a really important chapter. It's great. By the way, each chapter, the 10 chapters, each ends with an exercise. So if you decide you want to kind of experience wine more, because frankly, tasting wine is way more interesting than reading about wine or frankly listening to wine. Those exercises can really reduce it down for you and make it more simple. Also, they can take away some of the stress of purchasing wine in a store or purchasing wine in a restaurant, and that's sort of when I think most people think about wine. So after that, really, my suggestion is here's what I would do. I would buy the book, pop open a bottle of wine, pour yourself a glass, and read the book and enjoy. I'm Charlie Adler, and I drink on the job.